החווה כאן קצת יותר מתוקה. קיים בה כבר...
השומנים האנושי זה שאתה תמיד חייב להתגלה כלפי משהו גדול ממך. זה לא יעזור.
מצב רוחני מתגלה רק בקשר ביתי. שלום לכולם, אנחנו היום נמצאים בסדנה.
Hello everyone, we are today in the workshop. As usual, in these hours, we also have our focus group who's sitting in the studio, in our TV studio. We can see them now. And also our groups are with us as usual in Israel, overseas. Today we had the morning lesson, and in it, one friend from Beersheba, he asked that we do a workshop about jealousy, about envious. He said he hears from all different places that jealousy is a great problem in connection between people. Where in the integral world, the global world, we see that we are more and more connected whether we like it or not. That's how we see it from nature. And therefore, jealousy or envious is a very, very disturbing force. It separates people, it pushes them apart. However, if we look at nature and the more we know it, we see that nothing was created without a purpose. There is room for everything, a need in order to bring humanity forward to a better and more advanced state. And although we don't exactly understand, we don't exactly identify with it, we don't know the general plan, but nevertheless, we need to understand that in each and every inclination, it has a great advantage. Also in quality envy. But it depends how you use it, how you use that tendency. And although we hear claims from all different people and organizations, and all in general, all over the world, we see how the world is being burned up from this envy and how it ruins everyone's life. Let's see if we can take this tendency that was still given in each and every one, how can we use it correctly? And instead of having the flame of envy, we'll reach the positive envy that will enable us to rise by it and to improve our lives. And regarding this topic, we learn it from many things, especially from the introduction to the Panim Meirot of the book Etz HaChaim by the Ari. It says there, I'll read it roughly. It says the Creator instilled 3 inclinations called envy, lust, and honor, that due to them, a person develops, he develops through the evolution, and then through this tendency of lust, he reaches wealth. By the tendency of honor, he reaches bravery, and by being envy, he becomes wise. That's how it's written. It also says about envy that the envy of the authors increases wisdom. That by this envy we can reach wisdom, we can reach knowledge. And without that tendency, we wouldn't be able to advance. That the acting force is also unlimited, nor in time or in place. I envy wise people in history. I envy people who are very far away, who are living now. So envy has no limits, not limited by time or space, and it can really lead a person forward in a very, very positive way to the purpose, if he uses it correctly. If this envy does not lead him to harm someone, but to advance, to be like that very same person that he envies. Likewise, in nature there is envy encompassing all times and the whole reality. And the problem with envy is that, unlike other things, I'm not envious of what I lack, but I envy what the other has. And by that, I increase my will to receive. I become greater or more grown. I want more. I want to attain more. I want to be wiser. More and more and more. I want to be more. Therefore, if this force is used correctly, it can be very beneficial. It can take each and every one of us to great and important development. Therefore, by it, the person advances in his evolution to future states that we see are ahead of us. We see that even today we're in a state of confusion, we're in this kind of unclear state. We don't know what's happening with us, with the world. And here, if we use this force, this envy correctly, we'll find a way how to advance. How to connect between us correctly, how to take the right inclinations from the others, how to adapt to them. And by being envious of them, I would want to acquire all the goodness in all of my friends and all of my acquaintances. So envy, at the end, instead of burning a person and leading him to suffering by seeing that the others are in a good state, instead it can uplift a person, elevate him, if he uses this quality correctly. So the first question is, how do we correctly use this inclination called envy? How do we encourage it? How do we encourage the correct usage of it? That this envy will never awaken in me in a way that I want the other not to have. Why am I envious of him? Because I want him to be in lack, and then it will make it easier for me. But no, on the contrary, we're talking about the opposite, that the more the friends have, the great friends, that I can be envious of them correctly, properly, then I'll also follow them and I'll be great as well. So, how can we hold ourselves in a way that we use this envy correctly, instead of using it as the whole world does, in a way that one wants to demolish the other? Then we'll learn how to construct ourselves. Please.
Well, the topic of envy, and I recall such things from childhood. I remember that one time, actually my friends, or people, those that I considered good friends, in the end I find out that they stole some notebooks from my bag, my school bag, and they, threw them outside in the, among the trees. Another time they took a book from me. So I always had this point back since then about relationships of trust and closeness with the friends. Since then, I have always this, sensation of suspicion regarding envy. I know that every time there's a gathering, there's an action of coming together, and I'm not there, I know that this causes me to want to belong to that. If I'm not there, I feel a very great loss. It's something that always causes me to try and see where is there some action of gathering, so I'm not going to miss out on that. If I see that I do miss out on something, then it's very hard for me and I have to connect to it. Another thing I wanted to say is regarding negative envy. I truly don't know what negative envy is, but I know that through envy and desire, you can really advance. A person can achieve whatever he wants. He can develop a desire towards something, even if he doesn't want it, even if he doesn't achieve at that moment. So envy develops a desire in a person, and it greatly helps. And you also achieve satisfaction from it this way.
Okay, when Benzi spoke, the first thing that came to my mind was, before I met you guys, I remember I was in Italy, and I saw you through the screens. And I remember, well, according to my personality, I'm a pretty envious person, negatively. And I remember that because of this this great closeness that I felt to you, I remember I started listening to as many lessons as possible, being exposed to as much content as possible, because I felt that I had to be, in a way, like you. And I was surprised by it, because usually, the tendency is to dismiss and just because of that, I felt closer, like a family, and it pushed me to try and be like those very same dear friends that I saw through the screens. And that was the first time that I felt that there can be a different type of envy, because you're close to them, a type that you say that, okay, I'm in lack.
A thought that floats in me in a little different angle about envy is that as if a person that I'm facing, that's what's important. Who is this person and what is he for me? Let's say I have 4 children. And each one, just like with every person in the world, is unique. Now, when I'm with them in the home, I see how they are successful in things that I cannot succeed in. One is very emotional, the other is very smart, and the third one, she's very creative, she's musical. And all the things that I'm not, they are. And now when Rav Lightman presented this discussion, envy, and how to use it in a positive manner, I was measuring, how do I relate to them? Do I feel bad about the fact that they have these good qualities and abilities that I don't have it? And I felt that, no, I don't. I really don't. I'm very happy that I discover other things in them more and more. So the place of negative envy comes when I feel humiliated by it, when there's somebody that I feel that I compete with, and he succeeds. That makes me zero, nothing. But if the interaction and the emotional connection between me and those other people would be from a place where I try to love them and to want their good, as naturally I try with my own children, then I see that from me towards them there will never come this envy, which is like burning fire that I wish for them to lose, to come down, because that humiliates me.
When I continue, I remember that the first time that I felt this emotion, envy, I was in a prestigious course in the military. There were 4 phases there. Each phase is about 3 months every phase. It was serious. And in the first phase, there was someone there that he was, he was the top of that phase, and I said, wait a minute, I know him. We're from basically the same plate, and I knew that I was smarter, I knew that I'm more successful, and how did he win? Everyone honored him, and I really felt that I can't give up here. I can't let it go. Then, obviously, this didn't happen just for no reason. I understood later on, in retrospect, how how the army encourages it. I understood that later on. But it pushed me to bring everything I can from myself. And at the end of the course, I was the top. I shook the General Lieutenant's hand, the chief of the military, and and people were just completely envious of me this time. And I said, wow, this is great. Now they're envious of me, and not I of them. And then, time passed, and I saw that in this, doesn't really matter. You come first, you come last. Eventually it develops me, and today when I look at it, from the angle like Oren mentioned, something that develops with a study, I see that envy is something you can't control. When it comes, it's like all emotions. You can't control emotions. But if I if I have an environment that I want to value the friends, there's no state that my envious to them, my jealousy to them, will make me want to be better than them, or it won't make me want them to have less than me. There's no way. It will make me want to reach maximum potential, but not in order to lower them, not in order to beat them. But on the contrary, I'd be very, very happy to see a friend who's successful in something, just like I want my son to succeed.
Looking for how I can speak to you guys. When Moshe was speaking, I was very envious of Moshe because he managed to speak in a very emotional manner, in a natural way, and to evoke this thing that I would very much like to feel towards you right now. The sensation that I look at all of you, and all of you have so much that I don't have. And this is the most important thing. This is what I was thinking while we were speaking, that when you speak of jealousy, here, for us, when we strive to find a connection between people and we strive to look to find something higher in them, envy is the strongest tool we have, because this is my mirror. It's my possibility to constantly check, inspect. If I'm jealous of you in order to erase you, then clearly I'm not advancing in the right direction. It's obvious, like the sun. How will I reach love if I feel this way towards you? On the other hand, it's also very clear to me, let's say, when Moshe was speaking, how much I would have liked to have this kind of Moshe inside of me. How much I would have liked to have Niv and Chaim and Benzi and Gilad and Avihu and Mushi and Eran inside of me. How much, if I can take this entire table into me, if I'll be envious of you in the right way. How much it's both natural and also not natural. So it's not like children, because in children it's not natural for me to be jealous of it's natural for me, not natural for me to be jealous of my children. It is to be envious of you in the right way. And if I manage to find that, then you become the engine that pushes me forward, because I look at each one of you and my goal is to love you, to reach such a sensation in you. And then I acquire you within me. You become like Eli is now inclusive of 10 or thousands of 2,000. So envy becomes the main tool that allows me to go on that path towards loving you. So it's both the mirror and also the engine, and it's everything. And the moment that I fall into the kind of jealousy that I want to stomp over you, then clearly it's pushing me off the path. So I think that if that's what I have before me, then that's important.
Let's try add something to what the friend said. I don't know, I was envious from age 0, more or less, from kindergarten, or from the moment I remember myself. I was educated to be the best, and whenever I usually was, but whenever I wasn't, I was envious in every state in life, in everything. So maybe I was a little bit screwed. Maybe it's something natural in me. So we're talking about is it something natural or not? I'm not sure it is. Well, of course it is if you're educated to competition when you have to be the best. And anyone who disturbs your path of reaching that, anyone who is better than you, either you must be better than him, or you become envious of them. Otherwise, how will you reach your goal? But that is when your goal is to be number one, to be excellent. But if that is not the goal, then maybe envy isn't natural as well. Because in an egoistic society, when a person has to be number one at any price, no matter what, it seemingly becomes natural. But actually, it's not natural. It's us distorting reality and forming this environment. And the question is, can we form such an environment that not that you'll be number one, but that we will all together be number one? And then envy can transform into positive envy, admiration, as a developing tool, that the more I contribute to the togetherness of everyone, we become envious of that. And we have this mutual interest to raise these qualities as a process, but as a constructing process, that we have a mutual goal that we're trying to reach together.
Well, I'm the complete opposite, because I loved being number two. Actually, I was never number one, both in competitions and in any area. Maybe now, I was now thinking that maybe being, if you cannot be number one together, that I would have liked. But as an individual, I didn't really like that. And therefore, for me, I'm not envious. And for me, this term, negative envy, is not so clear. At least I don't remember myself this way. It's not that I'm not jealous, but that's not an emphasized quality of mine. But it's clear to me that if I want to achieve something in life, then I have to develop this positive envy in me. That has to be there, because if I'm not envious, as the friend said, this is fuel. Everything that I want to achieve, it's clear to me that I have to be jealous of the friends as individuals, or the idea itself that is important to them. I think that the negative envy is simply a result of the fact that people don't understand how much they depend on one another, how much they're interconnected. And out of that, they're envious. This negative envy, that as if the friend would have less, or maybe he will even be gone, won't exist. I think that the moment that we would feel the connection between us, and that's our goal here, in this table and of the whole workshop, then I would be interested that before me would sit people that are more advanced than I am. This way I can also yearn to be like them. So that's very clear to me. Otherwise what? If everybody is zero or zeros, then what am I? I'm zero also, because I'm the outcome of the group, of the society. So certainly I want everyone to be great. Truly so. It's clear to me.
So, to continue the friends, in order for there to be this envious, I have to be able to value the society in certain matters. And then that way envy can exist. And then this negative envy, this invidia, will be in order for me not to be able to exist, to make an effort. And therefore the society has to give this sense of ability, that everyone will know that they can do this. And then it will encourage him to positive envy. And this positive envy, that I am now jealous of something I don't have, that I want to swallow something that I don't have. And when a person wants to swallow these things up, even if these things are good, like sensitivity, like the ability to compensate for something or to overcome, from that experience a person slowly learns that it's much easier to follow what everyone else has and feel the others as part of you. And then this wholeness does not exist in you, but in what you form with the others. And in that place, a person becomes this point that connects all the others, and that quality in him which is greater, and that quality in him that's greater, and so on. And then that already is not actual jealousy. It's like a father is not jealous of his son.
I feel very safe in your vicinity, because I feel that I'm not being judged by the natural criteria that I have, that normally I think they're not very high, meaning I always feel as though, Mushi said number two, and I feel comfortable with it. So I feel number two in the good case, and I don't feel comfortable about it. But here I don't feel that, because I know that here it's not the yardstick by which I'm measured. Meaning, to start with, I know that, I'm being looked at from the point of how much do I participate in the collective effort to create that connection between us. And then I feel good, I'm calm, because I know I'm doing the maximum to be connected to everyone and to really raise the spirit of the group, the importance of the connection between us and the need for the connection, for unity, and to talk about how much this thing is really important to us. And if I do that, then all the other things, the way that I write, how smart I am, how much I know how to speak nicely, or how much do I smile, all of those things are completely secondary, and it takes a lot off me, because the pressure, the stress, because I know that I'm not being measured with respect to those. Therefore, the envy here is actually something that is very positive, in the way that I feel towards you. Even now, when I didn't maybe speak very clearly, I feel fine about it, because I really tried.
The question was, from what I was able to write down, how can we use this quality, envy, correctly? So just like Moshe said about watching us from Italy and being jealous of us, then I want to tell you that a few years back, we were in a room, a few friends, and also the Rav was there, and we read an email from a friend from Italy. And it was written in fantastic Hebrew. And this letter, he described how he's fascinated by us and how he wants to be part of us and how our goal is important to him. And I remember that I had these two emotions in me while I was listening to what he written. Of course, that friend was Moshe. One was envy for his ability to express himself, that in his case was exactly, target on to my profession, which is writing. The second thing that was awakened in me was happiness, because it was clear to me that there's someone here that is A, will be with us for a long time, and B, will give a great contribution. I said, this guy immediately, book department. I remember that he came to Israel in the beginning. We didn't let him come close. He first had to prove himself. And then he came closer and closer, and I wanted him to be closer. I felt that he has something very good and important to contribute to us. And I think that's the whole thing. That's that jealousy is a function, is a result of the importance of what you do. Because if what you do is even more important than yourself, then envy becomes minor. And you want to use that great thing that a moment ago you were envious of, you want to use it to learn, to absorb, to enrich yourself, because then you can contribute more, just like that friend you were envious of. And I think that's how we actually enrich one another.
All right, friends. We will now move forward to the, push things forward. What can we do with jealousy? It can be good or bad. I heard it's, black jealousy, it's called, or white jealousy. Well, we'll see that. But to our point, that we are now, with the whole world, in a dead end. We don't know what's going on. And before us, as if there is an abyss. It's unclear, nobody knows what's going on. We have always advanced by receiving from behind certain sufferings, certain blows. We didn't feel good in some situation, and therefore we moved forward from the earlier situation to the next situation that appeared to us to be better. This is how humanity has been progressing for thousands of years. Now that we feel that, it's uncomfortable, inconvenient, certain sufferings and problems, a general crisis, how can we use envy in order to advance and save ourselves all the blows? If I advance by being jealous of the good things, then as if this stick, the stick of the development that is constantly beating us from behind and we run forward towards some goal, then it doesn't catch up with us, because by using jealousy we can constantly enlarge our desires, the pace of our development, and in such a way advance in a nice, comfortable way, and with good pace and happiness. So it's not just envy where I would feel myself better off, so it's not worthwhile to be envious of others. Actually, it's the other way around, not to be envious of them, but to develop towards a good direction through that. Here we need maybe to look at happiness, look at this quality, and see the ability for the whole of humanity to develop nice and well, to come out of the crisis, and to constantly move forward in a nice, good way, and never through the blows. How are we going to do that? How will we use jealousy? How will we form it? What should we be envious of? Towards what should we advance? Think about it. Think about it, please.
This jealousy begins to develop when you first want to attain something yourself. And life teaches us, to a certain level, that each one has to count on himself. That's how we were brought up. Grow up, succeed. No one will take care of you. You have to take care of yourselves. And that's more or less how I was raised. I also used to, I used to work with music. I was a solo singer, and I had to use my qualities and magnify them as much as possible. And then when suddenly you start to not being able to attain what you want, a new emotion, a new sensation is born. You realize that what you wanted, you're not attaining, and you see others attaining it. So how do you treat it? Let's define envy like that for this case. Now, if over time you're satisfied by your own qualities, then you kind of get stuck, because you can't continue onwards. However, if eventually this life leads us to a certain type of connection, togetherness, then of course you can't stay with what you have. This emotion that awakens in you that he has it and you don't, what does he have? Whatever he has awakens in you to add more and more, and without that, you can't advance, you can't even move, you can't acquire anything. So this jealousy is this gap that you find between yourself and another person, and you can acquire this gap, you can make it up. And if the group is leading towards connection and unity, then it draws it from you each time anew in order for you to complete it. So this envy is that very same potential you have, and all you need to do is realize it and go with it, and not avoid that feeling of this gap of envy, but you should realize yourself through it, not invert it into black or white, but it's a force which is new, a developing force.
I will share with you a living example that I have right now in my home. My daughter, she's almost 3 years old. She's an angel, I cannot believe it. Well, she was an angel until her little brother was born. And it's just amazing. The moment that her little brother was born, she entered this phase of jealousy, but a really powerful one. I always knew, I studied psychology, about it, but I didn't believe that there can be such envy that she's willing to cross him out, erase him. And I realized why. There is this I who exists, and suddenly there's somebody who is competing, with me over love. So it's something very natural, this sort of competition. And it's the whole thing about feeling the special I, special me, and then somebody else is suddenly there next to me. So what's the reaction? Through her, I look at myself and I think, how do I react in such cases? And I notice that automatically what jumps in me is, I want to move away from him. I don't care if this person is successful or special. Or the other way around, either move away or make him smaller. This is how we defend ourselves. This is how I keep defending myself, that I continue to be unique, even though the whole world may be better than I am. And I think that if I look at systems, both in education, in many organizations, corporations, it doesn't lead towards growing, rather to degeneration, because each one is trying to only make the others smaller, and he wants to be the only one who stands out. So I think that we have to, speaking about the world in general, we have to apply new paradigms, things that we haven't felt yet, that we haven't learned how to feel, like this feeling of closeness, of a family. I'm going to give a practical example. Like, I feel very close to you right now, and let's say I'll talk about Gilad. I feel closeness to Gilad, and I feel that Gilad has an ability to be so flexible that it's amazing. I'm a person of corners, this way, that way, And I look at Gilad, the way he does everything, when he speaks to people in such a round manner, he brings whatever he wants towards them, and he achieves it, and the person feels great. And he creates this sort of connection. And I cannot make Gilad smaller because I feel very close to him, and I don't want to either. And this way, I can take an example, a quality that's very central in each one of you, for example. So when I look at him, I swallow a pump with my eyes when he's in contact with other people. How does he do it? What does he do? I want to learn it. I want to be like him. What I want to say through this example, speaking of the world, we have to let people feel that sensation of connection, the sensation of dependency, the feeling that we are close to one another. Simply experience it. And then another experience that if I don't apply that automatic muscle of, Lord, take him down, I don't care. Rather, when that natural jealousy jumps in me, I simply want to be like him.
Who do I want to be like? I think that's the key to all of our success or failure in life. Envy is this motor. The question is, who and what should one be envious of? I think that a smart person, as opposed to one who is not so smart, well, if we look at ourselves, at our lives, no matter how old we are, how old you are, what exactly you do in life, if you take all of your life and you map them, you'll see that in every place, starting from your partners, to relationships in work, neighborhood you live in, country you live in, or in this globe that we're all citizens of, we'll see that everywhere there is the same problem. The problem is negative connections between us on all levels, in all forces. That's a kind of X-ray of our state today. Negative forms of connection. Each one with everyone, and who will succeed tomorrow? A person who improves his connections to everything that's not him on all levels, whether if it's me and my wife or countries with respect to other countries. So in order to succeed, what should one be envious of? Of a person who excels in this, for that quality. And that's why I really respect you and love you, because you give me strength in life. What do I mean? I look at you and I see how you construct each and every one to the others. This warm attitude, this attitude of care. how you put these values, that the most important thing in your life is to be in higher qualities, on a more noble connection between you and the others. I see how it opens up spaces, places for you, how it enables you to grow, each one like a flower. And I want to do the same. So if I go back to the question, what should one be envious of in order to lead our lives forward, in order to better succeed? One should be envious of the other, who wants to connect to the others, who wants to tie the others to him in relations of love. Just like he naturally loves his son, he slowly begins to try and treat the others the same.
I want to add another small dimension, because I very much agree and identify with what everybody is saying here, that envy has something noble about it, something beautiful. It crosses all boundaries. It's endless, limitless. We say that a person does not envy the king's daughter, meaning I don't envy the prime minister or something like that. Who do I envy? My friend, my neighbor, somebody who's next to me, people who are in the same classroom with me. I envy them because that's something that's achievable. But if I succeed in something, then my jealousy grows, and now I can be envious of somebody who's greater. It's something that really pushes me to the next degree in the ladder. So much so that they say that Caesars and people who are really in control, they're envious. Even back in history, they want to erase those who were before them, and they want to be better than those who will follow them. So it even crosses the boundaries of the time of our existence. So much does envy have a force. So I think that the environment in which I live, the values that it establishes as the right ones, ultimately that's what causes me to feel envy. So if I live in an environment in which it's all about brand names, I see somebody who has a nicer jeans than I have, I'm envious of him, and I go and run to buy that. I see somebody who has more money and buys some nice car, etc. And society in general works on this whole thing, that through envy, they make us to be consumers of certain brands that they want us to, or products they want us to buy. And I feel such a great privilege to be in this society that truly has people who value the effort, as Niv explained so nicely before. I envy the exertion that each one of you is making here, is doing here. And I look at him, he's doing the maximum. And also their qualities. I'm sure that Moshe goes down to the last detail and he's so precise. You know, I don't have that. But thanks to being next to him, I learn from him. Oren is so nicely organized and tidy, and he knows how to build processes. And I look at Oren and I learn from him. In no way I have this quality if I wouldn't be next to Oren. Eli is so educated and smart, and I can go one by one, and I'm sure that this envy really builds me. I am not the same one that I was before I got to know you, and this positive envy has built me.
Actually, sitting next to Gilad, it's good. So I'm constantly jealous of him. Now he's giving me an opportunity. I like to say, envy is something wonderful. If you properly develop it, then along the path you start searching for opportunities to be envious of someone. Now there's a process. I wrote it down in points, in bullets here, because I saw an opportunity here. My entire life, I was here. And Avihu said he was envious from younger age. Well, yeah. And I remember that when I was in the military and I wanted to be the top of my recruitment team, I was, and also when I was in athletics, I wanted to be the first in running, in athletics. But a person who finds that he's in this race, he realizes he's on this runner. He's not reaching anywhere. At a certain stage, he suddenly realizes after many times that he succeeded, that he enters a state of regression, because what does it mean to develop in this world, with the qualities of money, food, sex, honor, family, all of that. That is to realize, to maximize myself, but that is limited. That's the limit of growth. In 1976, a book was written about it. It's the limit of growth. That's it. You can't grow anymore. And the same with the world. The world reaches this rough. You can't can't do anymore. I have no room. There's no room in me. Does not exist. So, because I maximize my personal potential, and we can see in the world how people don't feel like it anymore. No matter how much they try and they pump it up and they publicize it, there is a general slowdown because people are starting to feel that this treadmill is slowing down. And instead, you have to find a place to develop it. And here I see it as an example, like a microcosmos that we're building here. That in the world, that a world that envies different things in opening up, not realizing my own potential, but how we find between us another potential which is greater than the personal potentials of each and every one of us. And there, this new place for pleasure is revealed. For a person, when he reaches a state in life that he's sick of it, he's had enough, then suddenly here, it's like I find a door. I have infinity in there. I can run and I can be fulfilled by it. Therefore, I truly feel here how the world, that now is reaching a state called crisis, it's actually a huge gift. That this gift, this state of coming out of a crisis, is to find where we can find additional envy, but positive one. It's like when I'm sitting here. I'm here and I'm in this constant search. Where can I find more qualities in you that I can be envious of you? That I'll be able to be included in you, that I'll be able to acquire the uniqueness in each and every one of you, which is vast, but I like it. And I think that's what's special. And just like here in the group, the most important thing is publicity. So to publicize the importance and the connection between us, that should also be publicized, meaning to open up, to reach connection between us. There is goodness, there is life, there is prosperity. There's no limit to this growth, because our growth is mutual. It's advancing just like the multiplication of the people in the world, and even more. Therefore, it's very important to have publicity in our world. And I'm sure that if we begin to publicize other things, that to open up to the others, by that we'll all begin to become envious, and that will open up this door to a state that now seems to us like a crisis. And I'm writing now a scientific article about it, but this growth has reached an end, and now suddenly, a new opening will open. So envious is the foundation.
Friends, I have a question. However, it's written that in the society, in the group, we have to be modest. Each one should not be kind of jumping and showing himself as if he's important or great on the one hand. On the other hand, if the author's jealousy of authors increases wisdom, and I am concerned about lifting the whole society, then I have to show myself as one who knows, as one who's successful, understands, kind of the other way around. So where is the limit here, and where is the right combination between these two inclinations, these two tendencies? Maybe you can give me some sort of prescription. Please, go ahead. Please continue. The prescription. Okay. In truth, I was prepared for another question, but the question changed. But that's okay. That's part of the game.
Rav says, you can continue the previous question as well if you want.
All right, so how to balance between the need to not stand out on the one hand, etc., and on the other hand, the need for the group, the society to develop, to advance, etc. I think it greatly depends on what we define as development. I think the friends started speaking about it, and I want to join what they said. Because as if, what do we produce here between us? Why do we conduct ourselves in a certain way? Why is everybody so nice? And everybody is really supportive of one another and all of the other nice things that we do, because as if there is a certain environment here where it doesn't so much matter who I am, this environment is creating a certain spirit or atmosphere to which I enter. Now, whether I want to or not, I'm controlled by this environment, because in the end, assuming that I care about this environment, it's important to me, assuming this environment is important to me, and I don't use that trick that Moshe said before, that I'm going to lower everybody and then I stop relating to them and then the environment is no longer important, well then gradually I'm being shaped and even to some extent programmed by the environment that I'm in. Now, the environment that we live in nowadays, in addition to our individual qualities, it molds us into a certain type of character. Each one of us has born qualities, but on the other hand, the environment directs him to a certain direction, like the story that Lee said before about the treadmill. Walk as fast as you can, get as much as you can, etc. So if we, all of us, would create an environment out of the understanding that we are interconnected and there's a shared process that we are participating in and we are advancing together, but we'll create an environment that on the one hand allows the person to preserve his uniqueness, doesn't just allow him, in fact, it's the only way that a person can truly express his true uniqueness, only in such a way, because otherwise he doesn't even express his uniqueness, because the environment really stomps over his uniqueness and forces to be like some sort of a product on a conveyor belt. Here he can actually, in a very positive way, manifest, express his uniqueness towards the shared goal that we're all marching towards. But in order for this to happen, we have to create for ourselves a certain framework, a certain circle framework that will constantly let us understand that, one, we are in this process together, and therefore, why did everybody say before that a person is never envious of his daughter or son or his spouse? Because he feels they are a part of him, they are partners. If I feel that you're my partners, I'm not jealous of you, we're in the process together. That's one. Second, we can succeed only together, and somebody who contributes to our shared success, he's the one that we're going to, use as an example.
What's happening here is, I would say, maybe I wouldn't say unnatural, but it's unusual. If we look at discussions on all different TV channels, we see what these discussions usually, how they end. And that's from the process that we all go through, try, overgo, and bring himself through, because we want to learn how to use jealousy properly, correctly. As Avir said, we don't envy our son. I don't envy my son or my student, if I'm a teacher. That's clear. How to learn how to balance what Rav said, this envy. There were a few insights that I heard the friend say. Like Gilad said, you don't envy the king's daughter. This thing causes carelessness, indifference. It's like not even thinking in that direction. Or if I don't listen to a person because he's small in my eyes, then I don't become envious of him either. But here I want to take this envy, this jealousy, and as we said, that this jealousy is our fuel to advance. So if I understand, I think everything depends on the understanding. To the extent I emotionally understand that I depend on the group completely, total dependency. So if I depend on those that I construct the connection with, or even in everything in our lives, like Oren said, today if you look at the economy, health, relationships, it all is interdependent. So I want the general society to have also certain qualities that will yearn for certain qualities, and I want to be envious of that. I want to. If I depend on a person, he can save me, then this person should be strong, powerful, successful, and so on. And in addition, we find in research that the inner state of that same society, the inner passion of that society also influences me subconsciously. It's not only that I feel or not, it influences me. If I'm close to an environment of successful people, it influences me. So in short, we have to take this envy as fuel and use it. It's not natural. The most natural thing is to disregard everyone, to have this negative jealousy. That's clear, that happens naturally. So, in short, it's like a psychological barrier that we must overcome.
So more or less, I think I heard from the friends everything. For me, it's arranged in such a way that the person himself doesn't want to be envious. As for myself, I don't want to be envious. I want to exert minimally. I want to be left alone, quietly. Only the group can activate within me this jealousy and cause me to envy, to be jealous of something. So what's the essential difference? What's the key here? The key is whether the values that the group is directing to are values of connection and love or not. Why? Because if the values that the group is directing towards is love and connection, then that wholeness that I look for in my life is not in me. It's not personal. Then my jealousy is not in swallowing up somebody else's qualities or want something that he has. As we see in this world, everybody's trying to be what he's not, and then he's frustrated because he's not what he couldn't be and he's not what he could have been either. The moment that the wholeness, the complete thing is in the combination between us, then all that I have to do is to realize my part, what I can contribute to the whole. And as the friends said here, this builds me, this allows me to grow. And then I don't constantly search for what I don't have, rather I search what I do have that I can give and how to improve it through the interaction in order to contribute to that whole thing. And that I can do only if the society makes me feel that I'm unique and I'm able, because otherwise I really don't desire the king's daughter. But if the group makes me feel that I'm unique and able, meaning that it causes each and every one to feel that he's capable and unique, then I feel everyone is unique, everyone I have something to take from. Meaning, in every interaction with somebody, he is unique, he's special, and I can be incorporated in him in something. I can take something from him, I can give something to him, I can build with him a certain whole. And that brings me to the prescription that I bring to the society, to the group. If I don't show the group that I invest my full force and that group causes me to be great, then I steal from the group because I don't give the example. Everything is based on examples. So I have to show the group that I'm great. And in what am I great? I'm great because I've realized 100% that I can do towards our shared connection. But I don't show the group that I'm great in quality acts or why, because that then makes the whole group flat. Because I'll say, why am I great? Because I made a lot of money or I wrote many books. Then everybody wants either to write books or make a lot of money. That's not the point. The point is that I'm great by the group having caused me to be envious, and I've realized as much as I could what I can contribute to the group with. And that's what I bring as an example. That's what everybody brings as an example. And I'm constantly impressed by how he has realized himself towards the group, how he has realized himself towards the group. And that's why it keeps going. What does the media constantly show us? Success stories. So does everybody succeed? No, most of the time nobody succeeds. Most of the time people fail. Even the few who did succeed, they had to go through years of failure beforehand. But the moment that I look at the group around and I see the success of people who realize themselves with respect to the shared connection, then I keep saying, am I in the right place? Did I do everything I can? Do I have anything else to do? And not what do I lack that I can steal from somebody else? Rather, what do I have that I can add? But again, the key in a group is a group that elevates connection, chibur, connection between us above everybody else, and gives everybody the feeling that he's special and great, because everybody is unique and great.
Friends, I want to add, we learn that whatever we have from childhood, since we were born, from our parents, inheritance, qualities we were born with, and what I have from my home, from my mother, my father, in school, whatever I grew up on, I got values, I got different flavors, and that's everything, that's how I was produced. And I suddenly find, at the age of 17, 18, 20, that I'm already a stabilized person, and I was built, in short. Somehow, it's not even me. My views of the world, the way I see everything, the way I measure and choose how to behave, all of that is according to how I was made. Somehow, someone did something. My teachers, educators, my kindergarten teacher, my mother, my father, and even previous generations that were before. That's what a person feels. And if he wants to construct himself, if he decides, I want to now construct myself, meaning that I'm giving birth to myself, then there is no choice. He must enter a society, a group, and start getting its values from it, that it will educate him. And the intensity of that education, the speed of it, depends on his jealousy of those people who are in the environment, in that group. How can we arrange it? That each and every one of us will learn from the environment how to stabilize himself. Let's do like a lightning round. Each one has 15 seconds.
Two conditions. One, I have to appreciate the environment so that I would want to receive from it. Two, I want to see myself a little bit below them, so that way I would be able, for my own benefit in the end, to receive from them and to be impressed by them. Otherwise, I won't be able to receive from them.
I need to feel the importance everyone has, their efforts. And simultaneously, I have to make an effort myself and show that I make an effort in order to give the same impression to others.
Everything that appears in this environment is actually revealed for me so that I would acquire it. And in addition, to look at and study from the others. How do the others do it? Certainly I'll have a good example there.
We need to make efforts together to remove the focus of me on the account of others and develop this sensation of mutual dependency. On the one hand, each one gives an example to the others. On the other hand, to make them great in order for us to develop.
One, to put on glasses, spectacles through which I constantly search as if I scan for which positive actions in the direction of bestow, love, good connection between us, each and every one of you is doing. Really search for it in the group. And two, try to give a personal example.
I want to be born. From the beginning, everyone does. That is what is mutual for us. Therefore, externally, I have to make everyone jealous of me. I have to show them what I do. And internally, I have to be as small as possible in order to learn from them, because if I won't be small with respect to them, I won't learn anything, and I won't want to be born as they are. And we constantly feed each other with that desire to be reborn.
Indeed, how can each one learn from the environment? So in order to learn, in order to realize this word, well, I cannot learn from somebody that I feel I'm greater from. So to start with, when I enter this door, you know, the top of the door is going to flow. That's how it should be in this group. So I have to bow down in order to truly be able to receive, because I'm the outcome of the environment. If I let them affect me, I would receive such thoughts that I don't have now. So I would understand through this good envy, I would understand by being envious of the friends that I get these such new thoughts and desires, and a change takes place in me that I want to hear you men are speaking about around the table, and I don't want to stop anyone. I feel this special atmosphere of love and warmth, things that you don't have outside of this table, because there are different thoughts here.
Not only this doesn't exist outside, but outside it's completely opposite. Now we need to understand there is no value for individual success, because our true success is only the mutual success. And then I constantly want everyone to succeed, because otherwise I won't be included in this process of success, and then my success and my pleasure are measured by the other success, and the more the others succeed, the better it is in my eyes.
Something odd maybe, but what we are doing is we're trying to be envious of the friends of people that in the end are putting a certain goal between them to improve our relations. This is the top value, the number one value that I feel jealous of, and every details that every individual that does that, I'm envious of him, and I really pray on the inside that this person would be great in my eyes, because the greater he is in my eyes, the more I'll be jealous of him, and the more I too would yearn and would follow those values.
So, as the friend said, to see others great, myself small, and I think that the most important thing is to go with the question, what can I do for them? What can I do for them? Because if they are great, I can grow properly only if I direct myself from morning to night with the question, what can I do for them? What can I give them that's important to them?
It seems to me that I need to walk around with this basket into which I collect all kinds of examples of jealousy. Because in the end, I'm jealous, as we said before, really at examples. So if a friend now said a certain discernment towards unity that I feel that I don't have yet, I want to put it into that basket and take it truly as a model for copying, and to notice that I don't put into this basket things that are unrelated to creating the connection between us, rather things that are outside of that. Really pay attention to what I put into that basket of envy that I have.
But I have a question in that case. Niv, tell me, if friends don't reveal their greatness, they might, but it doesn't seem to me. Or that maybe everyone are, everyone are humble, and I'm not impressed by it. How can I advance in such a society? What tip can you give me?
I need to constantly focus my spectacles, my glasses. It just simply means that I don't have focus. I'm out of focus a little bit.
But let's say that's really how it is. Everyone is humble, modest. How can I be impressed from my students? What will I do? They're all students, they're all small. What can I do? I raise them from diapers, and what's next? How can I be impressed by them?
I think that you have to take examples from times, let's say, in which I entered the group. It cannot be that when I enter the group, I immediately see them as great, and I immediately appreciate them. I want to be like them. It has to be that way. Like somebody who enters a new place, naturally, I want to subjugate myself a little bit, understand what are the rules that are going on here. So I have examples for a group that was great. What then happened? What, did they become smaller? No. I became greater and I made them smaller.
Okay, so actually I must uplift the society even if it does not seem great to me, and that is one of the conditions of my success, right? Just like we have from the Bible, we have the example of Rabbi Yossi ben Kisma. Good, so the last question. If so, all in all, how can we summarize this, that through jealousy, lust, and honor, what does the phrase say? It brings a person out of the world. So what is the true interpretation of this? That jealousy, honor, and lust bring a person out of the world. Please, 30 seconds for each one.
All of these three elements, jealousy, lust, and honor, in the end, if we use them in order to create the right environment that supports connection and love, while using our natural qualities, then it causes us to want to be like that environment that is supporting connection and love, and by that we simply change our own nature. Right now, just before we came here, reading some research, some studies about how the environment actually changes men's genes, and we can really use the environment that supports connection in order to transform us into people who want connection, as if this is our nature.
These qualities are properly directed according to the goal. So if we determine the mutual goal, which is connection, then these forces, instead of being hated and tired of them for myself, then they draw us to the mutual goal.
I'm asking for you to speak for 15 seconds each one. To continue what Benzi said, as far as I'm concerned, I simply call that the egoistic paradigm that's in each one of us, and I only use my qualities to make everybody else smaller and cut off, sever the connections. We can use it the other way around, and that way we free ourselves of the egoistical paradigm.
From a world where I'm a champion by myself, we're rising to a world that we're champions together, nourishing endlessly.
I need to want that the others would be better off and not me, so I want the friends to achieve the honor, I want the friends to supply the last, and I want jealousy to push them forward and advance them, and then my attitude is such that I would see a new world.
So the ingredients are that if I see the benefit of the group and not my own, and then this hatred, this jealousy, honor, and lust bring a person from his closed world to this open world. He opened the tap, and from this opening he comes out to a new world by changing the use of jealousy, honor, and lust.
I just wanted to speak about the rules of speech, that if they make us, restrict us to 15 seconds, we say the same things we would have said in 30 seconds, but much faster. But in the end, jealousy, lust, and honor bring a person out of this world means that they push him out of this restricted perspective where he thinks he's the only one in the world and there's nobody else there and he has to succeed. He suddenly discovers there are many other people around him. Not only they're there, but his success totally depends on them. And because we're all connected, we're all a single kli, and only that way we can succeed. Then he starts caring for the others, and envy, lust, and honor become fuel.
It's to bring a person out of this world. The world is 7 billion people that each one, through jealousy, honor, and lust, wants to exploit the other. Thank God we're growing and we will keep on growing. So all in all, by using properly jealousy, honor, and lust, we'll come out to a different world, a world where 7 billion people are concerned with one another.
To continue the light of some of the friends, if a person works through jealousy, lust, and honor egoistically, then the emptiness he'll feel, the level of satisfaction would simply throw him to another place. He'll realize that if he comes to a place in which there are different values, in which he lives in a connection with the others, he simply won't be able to stand it.
This can be attained only by deciding together. So let's agree that we want to envy each other with respect to that quality of sharing, of giving each other, and by that we'll advance together.
The whole issue of the importance of the goal, that if it's more important than us, then those same qualities that we would have used for our own benefit, now we're going to use them in order to amplify the importance of the goal, to increase the success of all of us in achieving that goal.
There's this saying, if you can't beat them, join them. So it's the same. If you see that, let's sing.
ולא נשאר אוויר במפרשים
ועם הלב שבור לרסיסים כן דווקא אז פתאום רואים
ואם ההר עוטף אותך בצל אתה לבד טועה בערפל
תיתן לי יד ביחד נתגבר אור אחד ניצוץ בערפל
ואהבת לרעך כמוך כלל הכי חשוב בתורה ואהבת לרעך כמוך גם בטוב וגם ברע ועם הזמן הולך ומתקלף והימים חולפים בלי מענה
המנהרה נראית ללא קצה דווקא אז הוא מתגלה
ועם החול כיסה את הפנים במרום קבוע כוכבים עם העולם שבור לרסיסים יש אור אחד והוא תמיד יעיל ואהבת לרעך כמוך כלל הכי חשוב בתורה ואהבת לרעך כמוך גם בטוב וגם ברע ואהבת לרעך חברים